Not with gloss varnish.
Oh.
You can do it with matte varnish.
But you use this smoke as well?
Yes, to give some effects I want to show you. So riecht doch gut. I do it for the deeper areas. And if you use several colors, if you want to make more effects on it and you use for the highlights also more brighter colors with smoke and some varnish, you can soften the effects. So I want to tell you, don't overdo it with too bright colors. So you can see here, it's only a combination of 3 colors. I added in a very gentle way to the surface. If you overdo it, the effect is too bright. You can see here, this is what I've done actually, blending with some smoke and clear varnish, and this is, I have done it in a very bright way, but it doesn't matter because the next step is to make a washing on it. The washing we want to do will also soften all the effects and gives a very natural color and takes the brightness of the Tamiya colors. Okay. So, next step, oil colors for washing. I use dark oil colors for my washing. Natural oil colors like a brown, dark brown. Here I used dark umber, black, and green umber. white spirit. You don't have to be careful if you're working like on vehicles. So I also do it not on every area in the same same color. The higher areas I use more diluted one. So I give it around so you can see the effects in a minute. So. Also here, the amount of the color, and not as dark as the colors are, is the point which works on your surface. Okay. I let one side as it is and one with the washing. Okay, so you can feel it around. So it's done in a very quick way now. So you can do it with several oil colors, and also the intention you do it, the intensity you do it is that one which effects you get. But the way I do it and the colors I do it are always the same. And if you, of course, if you do a diorama in the desert, you use different colors. You use more yellow colors, more sand colors, and you do it not as dark as I did it here, but I do it in a way like I've done here. The next step is, if you have done this, you can use some grass on it. You can use some grass on it, and what I recommend is grass you get in several ways, from Silhouette or Green Line, and I have some with me. I want to show you. Combine it together, and the years before I did it like with static grass and white glue, and it doesn't work pleasing to me. There is also, I know people work with that one. It's
homemade.
Homemade or cocos ball, like from cocos. This is not homemade, it's from Silhouette.
Yeah, oh, sorry.
And I don't want to work with that one, because this one is more controlled way. You can put your grass on the groundwork. This is not as controlled I want to have. There are also people work with that one. It's funny.
Cool.
People
Can that?
use that one, cut it in one length, drill a hole and placed it in. Here one, here one, here one, here one. It doesn't look natural. If you use this, okay, you can use it, but do it in a natural way. Not only drill a hole, put it in it, and that's it. You get so many materials for grass also in the nature. I told you this one is a good base. You can use moss. You know the moss you can find? There are small, like hair, with a small head on it. Moss is fine. I have no. But do it in a very controlled way. This one, for example. It's very nice to combine it with grass like this. Have a look in the nature. You will find so many materials to do in a natural way. Let's talk about leaves. If you want to add leaves on the ground, it always looks perfect to have a muddy street with leaves on it. Many people take leaves like this one. It's very cheap, it's a natural material, but that leaves are no leaves. In one, give it around. I always take leaves like this one, laser cutted leaves. Laser cutted leaves are really fine. There are also one from Eduard. Cut it and sometimes still painted. But what you have, listen, what you have to know is these leaves are completely flat, so it doesn't look natural. And all the leaves have one color. It also doesn't look natural. So make an overspray with several colors on the paper. And you see, every leaf has another color. I mixed brown, bright brown, and oversprayed before I started my work. The leaves, I told you, are completely flat. I always use a hard rubber, cut it to the leaves. The leaves I painted before, and a tool from the dentist, which is round. And so you will see the effects are completely different to that one you know. I want to show it to you directly on the paper. And you see, it looks completely different. Flat is not natural. Give it around. You can add these leaves on the surface with wood glue. Some drops of glue, glues stick by stick, leaf by leaf on the surface. And this will give you a fall effect, an effect of which is in combination very good to a muddy street. Muddy street with water holes in it. Doesn't work only with water holes on it if you add here the water. You have to prepare the surface. You have a satin effect now on the base, but you have to add for the muddy effect, like you can see here, a medium called Liquitex Gloss Gel, which is in that way, which you can get in that way. This one you can thin with water, normally up to 25% water. I will show it. This is a very useful medium also to create mud and dirt on tracks or around tracks. I use that material in combination with mud medium. This is the gloss medium, this is the mud medium. The mud medium is more liquid. With some sand, with some pigments, and mix it, and also like a paste like this. And you will see, the more you mix it, the more you get a very nice effect for tracks. Use a small brush to add it on tracks. I did it in my diorama with the Stuk 3. It's also in vignette class now. And if you have a look behind the vehicle, there is near the track prints mud, or the mud which is around the track prints, and also mud on the tracks. It's done with a mixture of both mediums with sand and pigments, and it works really perfect also for creating mud. Here I want to show you how it works. How it works for the base of a muddy street. Mix First, it looks like it's white, but it becomes clear when it's dry. Perhaps we see the effect afterwards. Hopefully it dries in the meantime. And it's also very useful. You see, I did it on the complete road. It's my preparation for the muddy street, because with that one and with it's a question of amount of the medium. The surface is more smooth. When it's dried and I want to create deeper holes, water holes in it, you have a base done now, and deeper water holes I create in a combination with clear resin and a minimum, absolutely minimum, only only a small drop of khaki. But don't overdo it. It should give a khaki effect to the clear resin. And with a brush you can make holes or flowing water. You can see on the diorama. Have a look at it afterwards. So, what I've done, smooth surface by liquid medium. When it's dried, perhaps you add it again to get several effects. And in the last, the deeper water holes, clear resin, minimum of khaki in it, and then with a brush make the water effects. That's it, that's the effect, that's the way you can do muddy streets. Add some leaves on it, and it's a feeling like a street in fall, in a very wet and muddy time.
Kann man das Liquid jetzt zum Beispiel die Platten einstellen, oder?
Ja, if you have deeper holes, water holes, you can put leaves in it and add the water on it, or you can add some leaves to the water. Or it's always nice to have an ammunition in the water. Have a look at it, try it out. I always have done a water, was heißt ein Brunnen? Well. Yeah. Brunnen.
Ja, well.
Well.
Ja.
Okay. I've done a well here, which I added water in it with, if you want to make clear water, add a minimum of buff and also a minimum of clear green. It's a very bright color from Tamiya, but it's transparent. Clear green and a minimum of buff to the resin gives you the effect of a green water, like in a lake. Yeah, try it out, and try it out with a minimum of amount. Do several layers and build up a deep sea, a deep water. Not do it one layer in one way. Add layer by layer, and so you get several effects.
Wie hoch sollten da die Schichten sein?
Millimeter, 2, yeah. So it's don't overdo it with too heavy Schichten. Layers. Yeah. Too heavy layers make thin layers, and so you avoid getting bubbles, and so you get several effects. Okay, that's a quick way to explain how groundwork is done. And if you agree, I want to show you, first of all, how you can make snow, and then how you can make walls or buildings, if you agree with me.
Bernhard, is it possible to interrupt and ask questions? Or
Yes.
After?
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking about when you're making the tracks there, you know, I would like to hear how you do it. Because, I mean, if you go over a muddy field or a semi-muddy field, the tracks, I mean, the tank 20, 30, 40 tons. It goes in 20 kilometers an hour. When the tracks are hitting, it pushes also up earth
Yes.
on the sides. I may like that to understand. How do you create that? You see what I mean?
Yeah.
It goes, maybe it's for later.
Okay?
I'm interested about that.
Yes.
How you
Yes.
can portray that. Because it pushes up on the side.
Yeah. We will do it.
Or you can take it off there if you
Okay. I hope I remember it in the right way. I've done. I hope I can remember myself in the right way I've done. But
I would like to hear you.
I use Liquitex, gloss medium, Liquitex mud medium, sand, and here's, I did it with some plaster in my diorama. But I hope it works with the sand also. Like here.
Yeah. That's what I meant, yeah.
Okay. Normally it works.
Because it's not so very fine. It's
Yeah.
I don't know what you say in English or German.
It's effect you mean?
Yeah.
Normally I use plaster with, because the plaster dries. I tried without plaster. The mixture, Liquitex
Any
gel,
special plaster you or
no normal
Yeah,
plaster.
normal plaster.
I have no plaster with me. I tried. The main aspect for it is, here it's too liquid. If you have plaster, it dries,
Yeah.
and during you mix it, it dries under your hand, and it gives the effect which you want on the tracks and also behind the tank. I hope I can do it in that way, but normally you have to use plaster, but we tried. It's also too wet. But it comes. Well, it comes. Ah, yeah. More dry? More dry? Okay. Stiff brush.
Hard to get it, yeah?
Stiff brush, small brush. Minimum amount. Like I told you, it works better with plaster. But
I think there are many modelers that forget to make this. I mean,
yeah,
just to make tracks and then it's ready. I mean,
it depends how the consistency of the street. Yeah?
of course.
And if you do it on a field, like you told, like I did it on the
Yeah,
stoop,
yeah.
you have to do it.
Deswegen
And-
lässt nicht dieser feuchte Schlamm sein, sondern diese
Ja, halbfeucht.
More dry,
halbfeucht.
because the water drain goes down.
And to blend it with the tracks, water. And don't forget blending it. And not always in the same high. And dimension.
Das kann man dann aber dann auch so machen, wenn das zu feucht ist, dass ein bisschen mit dem Finger ein bisschen solche feinen Erde drauf zu ziehen.
Ja, so soll es eigentlich, es wird dann schon, also with plaster, it works much better. And if you try it with plaster, you can do it on the tracks. Du kannst ja das Ding mal ein bisschen nach hinten schieben und singst die
But
andere.
then one question. Now it's start to dry, yeah.
Yeah,
So you can take maybe some needle and
yes,
like this, and it goes a little bit.
yeah, and
You know
stiff
that.
brush, and you will see the mix of both mediums. And okay, I repeat myself, and with plaster you will get much better effects than with sand. And this is the effect I think you want. Okay? Okay. I hope someone will clean the table afterwards and I don't have to do it on my own. Okay, snow. Snow. Just some words for snow. There are several mediums for snow. I use Andrea artificial snow, oftenly in combination with glass medium and some water. And sometimes if you want to have liquid snow, as wet snow, you can use gloss varnish with also Andreas snow. There is another medium, Aurea Domus Complements, which is available in two colors of snow, a gray one and a white one. The gray one is the wet snow. You can do footprints in it, like I've done here. For this, I mixed this one with still water to a paste. To a paste which is liquid enough to fill it, to place it on your diorama. But you can see I did it only in a limited area. So I placed some blue tack on the left side, on the right side, left side, filled it with that paste and sit aside and wait. It takes 20 minutes, it depends on how liquid it was. But sit aside your diorama, and if you try it if it's stiff enough to continue. Try it oftenly. Try means use a figure, perhaps dragon figure, for adding the footprints. Wait until it's dry enough to insert the footprints. And there will be a point when it's stiff enough, you can add the footprints, like I did it here. And in combination, the gray is the muddy, the icy area where the footprints are, and the area around, I work with the white one, in combination with still water or with clear varnish. That's what I prefer for snow. So, okay, like this. Buildings. You can do buildings very easily on your own. I use again that material. Okay, you have to paint first what building you want to have. So I want to have a half timber house, like I painted here. For the windows, you can use that one. It's cheap and it's very useful for windows. You get here, I cut it the place where the window should be. First I paint it where it should be, and then I cut it, like here. Place it, cut it, you get a hole like this. Okay. Then the half timbers. The half timbers I use balsa wood for it. Paint the size, then use a file. and so you can insert it. The bricks. You see, first I painted the lines for the bricks. Normally I use the size of 3 millimeters high and 7 millimeters long. It's in my eyes a really natural size, a natural dimension of the bricks. And first I painted the lines, and then you have to paint the vertical lines. I show you, like I told you, in a very quick way. Vertical lines. Use my glasses. Every second row.
Ist das ein Alkoholstift?
Ja, Folienstift.
Löst sich nicht diese Farbe nachhinein bei der Bemalung?
Nein, das schneide ich weg. Okay.
Der Weißlein zum Beispiel, das löst.
Der löst auch noch an. Permanent, das ist permanent.
And then you cut it with a sharp scalpel. I only want to show you how to do it on a limited area and very quick. First, the horizontal line. Then the vertical lines. Yeah. Okay. Vertical lines. Then you have to widen that with a blade. Insert the blade. And for the vertical lines, I have something like this. And to get a rough surface, I use a tool like this one to press in an irregular way. Press stone by stone, brick by brick in an irregular way, So you get a very irregular surface. And what will follow, I painted it in a red-brown, painted brick by brick with several red-brown to orange tones with a brush. If it's dry, I used some plaster mixed in a very liquid way all over the surface to fill the gaps between the bricks, and then wash off the plaster so you get the brown tone of your bricks, the white line between the bricks with the plaster, and a very natural effect because some parts of the plaster will stick on your bricks, so it looks really natural. And if you want to make a wall with a rough texture on it, where the bricks are coming out, like you can see on the wall I have done here. First, I pressed it irregular. Then I forgot my sanding paper. But use a very rough sanding paper, like size 60 or less than 60. Press it on the surface, and so you get a very irregular surface, a very rough texture. Try to do it here, but you have to do it with sanding paper. Then cut the area where the bricks should come out. In that way. Okay, very thin, very thin. And now you can add the bricks. I do it in a very quick way now to show you what I mean. So, and this is the way you can make damaged walls. Okay, so I think my 1.5 hours coming to the end now. You saw several aspects of making the groundwork. Also, I know very quick how to make walls, how to make brickstones like this. And please feel free to ask me, have a look at the dioramas. If you have any questions, I'm here for you.
How do you make the tiles on the roof?
On the roof? Okay. It's a material from Hudson and Elm. It's like it's this one. It's from Hudson and Elm studio. Trees. I forgot. Making trees, you know that material for making trees. You see everywhere. But many people many people make something wrong with it. If you use it, in that way you get it straight from the box. It looks like this one, unnatural.
I just want to say to you that you don't have to rush with this one because nobody is coming after you. So if you want to be here longer,
Okay.
no problem, okay?
And when is coming the woman who wants to clean my table?
That's your job, man. There is a poor woman now. with
For
big
women,
boobs.
yeah, I expect. If you use it in that way, it doesn't look natural. Use tweezers, gentle, and do it very soft. So the small balls are falling, and it looks much more natural than before. The color I painted my trees is also written in my paper you want to get. You will get. Okay.
Well, I have a question. When you add mud on the tracks, I guess you add that after you added the tracks on the tank.
Normally I add it before the tracks are on.
Sometimes it can be difficult, especially on the upper area when you don't see
Yeah.
and you break it.
I do it, okay, it's difficult to add the mud on the tracks under the track, under the fenders. Okay, I do it with a very small brush, a track to track. And okay, at the end you don't have a problem, but under the fenders with a small brush I add Liquitex with plaster and some pigments, mixed with pigments, so you get a right color on it, and with a small brush it's possible to make it. Okay, anything I forget?
Bricks. So you paint this pink material directly?
I always make an overspray with black. It's my first color, black or black brown, like I did it on my groundwork. Then I paint it with red brown, and then brick by brick.
So just use a primer on this pink material and that's it?
Black. Unfortunately, I forgot the Humbrol paint. Here is what I said to you. Humbrol paint, perhaps a sandy Humbrol paint, with plaster mixed on that surface. You get a base color, and you also get a rough texture on it.
You mentioned earlier, yeah, sorry.
You have to try it. Yeah.
Verdünner greift dieses Material nicht an von Hamburg.
Ich habe keinen Verdünner für Humbrol. Nur die Farbe.
Nur die Farbe.
There is no thinner for the Humbrol. I use only the color, and the amount of plaster gives you the right consistency of the material. If you use too much Humbrol paint, it's too liquid. It doesn't work. You have to wait a little. Add some more plaster. It's stiff enough to press it on your surface, and it works perfect. Good.
Where are you getting your inspiration of diorama, making diorama, planning scene?
Normally, I get my inspiration from the places I visit or from books. And like here, okay. The wall is that wall which is very close to the Tiger 2 in La Glace. In La Glace there is a Tiger 2 standing, and very close to it is a wall like this, and behind there is a cemetery and a church. The building itself, okay, I use pictures from buildings from the Ardennes. Or normally I get my inspiration. I have a scene in my head, and of course I don't want to make a European building. Often you see European building, European tram. Verlinden is a specialist for it. Verlinden always tells this is a European building, but look at the buildings you see here and look at the buildings in Italy. It's completely different. So you have to know which kind of building is located in that area you want to produce. So use books, internet for it to create a building like that one which is located where it is. A building in the Ardennes is completely different. Also in the Ardennes, this is a building which you can find in La Glace, Stoumont, but if you go to other cities over there, you find bricks, rough stones, completely different to that one. So you use pictures.
When people say Arden, they are thinking and pine trees, snow everywhere, German tanks moving. When I'm thinking that way, but this is different.
Mm-hmm.
This is Arden, but it is different than that.
It's different also which period of the Ardennes. If you Ardennes offensive, Ardennes campaign. The first days it was much more warmer and muddy, and then comes snow and it's getting cold. So you have to know this is the first days of the Ardennes. You had mud and no snow. And beginning in the period after Christmas, snow was coming.
You must search history.
Yeah, it's just researching.
Yeah.
Don't just pay attention to what. If you want to do an area of a campaign, don't just see an overview of it.
But
Find out
he's
what
catch
time
the
you want to
scene
do it.
very well. He's catch the scene, plan the scene very well, I think.
I have a question about the figures. Do you prefer any kind of vendor for the figures, or do you teach yourself? Or
Normally, I had a time where I sculpted the figures completely. It's a lot of work. Now I think there are many useful parts for figures you can use. Okay, you can improve some things like dragon figures. Dragon's figures are normally very stiff. Here. And dragon figures, the trousers and the legs are always too thin. So I engrave some parts of the dragon figures, like the belts, with a sharp knife to get not a round area around the belts, to get it very sharp cutted. And I always add some putty to the trouser to get it more natural. And I use the upper body, but turned it a little, and oftenly cut it the upper body over the belt. And so if you cut it here, you can cut also a small part of it to make it more like this and not like this. And that's the first step. And then I added the arms. The arms, I always use a wire and a hand from hornet or also from dragon. It's possible. 1.5 centimeters is the normal length I use, plus what's inside. Yeah? So 1 to 6 centimeter, 1.7 centimeters, also normal length. So, and then I use a magic scope first like a sausage around the wire. So it is fixed, and then I use the layers for the folds and what I want to have. And so you can completely, you can do a complete different figures that you have in your hand. Like this one, the commander, is a Tamiya figure. I always think about Tamiya figures or forget it. Tamiya figures are sometimes perfect, and but you have to engrave some things, like eagles or something. I use for insignias. Normally I cut it, the insignias and the shoulder straps, and I don't use etched insignias. I had plastic, glued the etched insignias on it, and then I made a mold of it from silicone. Mold of it, and then you add to the mold Vallejo color. Only one layer of Vallejo color and let it dry. So the first is etched material is too stiff. Here it's too stiff. With my copy, I get a very flexible kind of that is insignias, and I can use it as often as I like. So with the Vallejo color, it's like rubber, and you can cut it and glue it on your Tamiya figure or dragon figure, and so you get a completely different figure, only with a simple copy of an etched part of an eagle or something else. The head, Moson, oftenly I changed the. I think I always change the heads to alpine heads, hornet heads, and then the helmet. The helmet, dragon helmets. Normally, I thought dragon helmets are shit. Dragon helmets are not shit. You get helmets from the older figures, like Viking grenadiers have perfect helmets. Are older dragon figures.
Generation 2 figures, helmets are...
No Generation 2. Older. There is a Viking division in Hungary with good heads, and there is Kharkov, the Kharkov. But I always drilled the head with a dentist drill inside. And they are perfect helmets. Not Generation 2. Generation 2, it's flat. Oh, and okay, you can, if you drill it to a minimum, okay, but the best is Kharkov or Viking Division from Dragon. Perfect helmets. To a hornet head, fit perfect.
Alpine
heads are good. Alpine helmets I use sometimes, yeah. But it's a cheap way. I look in the internet when the old dragon figures you often can buy for 5 or 6 or 7 euros. You can use sometimes the weapons, but the helmets are fine. And the upper body is fine, and sometimes I cut the hands or yeah. So this is the way I do the figures. The figure standing on the stoop, for example, is a mini art figure. Perfect figure. The head is from Alpine. The figures in the 250, this is a Tamiya figure, one, and the white one is the dragon from the artillery crew, with a head from Alpine. And the figure in the back is a complete dragon one, but sculpted. I added some putty on the legs and do something different to the normal figure. And here, this one is straight from the box. It's a Pegasus figure, straight from the box. This one is a Tamiya with a hornet head and some additional sculptings, and the hands are completely sculpted on my own. This one is from a company from Far East. I don't remember the company. And the head is a hornet, and the arm is sculpted on my own. And the German soldier in the back is a complete Dragon Generation 2 figure.
Thank you.
Bye bye. The wire here, this is balsa wood, and the wire is lead wire, but longer lead wire. And the telegraph poles here, the ceramic poles, are from R&B or from Auburn. Okay, any questions? Nein? Sometimes the audience in front of you is fine, sometimes not. Okay, thank you for listening. Enjoy the day. I just wait for the wife. For the women cleaning my table. Yeah.